What will we do if someone who is different appeared in our lives? Will we fear them, exploit them, or try to understand them? Hello everyone, my name is Pratna Data, and I'll analyze the short story that was written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, which is a very old man with enormous wings, by connecting and comparing themes from different works studied in this course, like The Wars by Timothy Finley, The Dragon by Catherine Govier, and Duels et de Curum East by Wilfred Owen. So, the short story that I chose starts with the couple, Paolo and his wife, Elisenda, who found a very old man in their courtyard during a stormy afternoon. They noticed the enormous wings attached to the body of the old man. They believe he is an angel and start charging the villagers to see him as if he is a circus animal. He becomes exploited by the couple and they become more wealthy, until another carnival attraction with a woman who had been charged into a spider came along. The crowd stopped caring about the old man and the couple mistreated him. The angel grew weaker and eventually recovered to finally fly away. Through irony, imagery, and other literary devices, Marquez explored human cruelty, compassion, and the struggle. Ideas are also reflected in The Wars by Timothy Finley, The Dragon by Catherine Govier, and Duels et de Curum East by Wilfred Owen. Now let's go to literary devices. So the first one is imagery, a language that uses similes and metaphors, producing images in mind. For Marquez's short story, his huge buzzard wings, 30.5 pluck, were forever entangled in the mud. For Owen's poem, soldiers are bent double like old beggars under shafts. Both show suffering and vulnerability. Govier also uses imagery to empathize human fear and the reaction to the dragon. To prove, the story says, you see the tapestry of flesh and stripe realized there. See a town lit by dragon breath and poised in positions of torture. The fat squashing the small, the weak scratching of the backs of the strong as he sat cold-eyed in a swivel chair. The next one is metaphor. Metaphor is a word sentence that's used in an imaginative way to represent. For Marquez's poem, it says, at the beginning of December, some large stiff feathers begin to grow on his wings. The feather of a scarecrow, which looked more like another misfortune decipitude. Marquez on page 4. The scarecrow imagery represents decay and lost divine status. For Owen's poem, it says, gas, gas, quick boys! The gas attack is a metaphor for the horrifying facts of the war. For Govier's short story, the town is described as lit by dragon breath and poised in position of torture. The dragon can represent societal fears or moral blindness. Figurative language in 3 works show moral reflection and empathy. The third one is irony. It's the expression of meaning through the use of words which normally means the opposite of the words. For Marquez's poem, he was dressed like a rag picker. The villagers exploit the old man rather than celebrate him. For Govier's short story, the dragon reveals hidden truths or moral lessons ignored by humans. The evidence, it says, all around himself, he saw people try to escape their plan and call it the pursuit of happiness. For Owen's poem, the patriotic ideal of dying for one's country is called the old lie. All 3 test contradictions between human ideals and behavior, highlighting cruelty and misunderstanding. The last one is tone and mood. Tone is the author's attitude toward the audience, while mood is the overall feeling evoked in the reader. Marquez mixes realism with dark irony. To prove, it says there are only few faded hairs left on his bald skull and very few teeth in his mouth, and his pitiful condition of a drenched great-grandfather took away his sense of grandeur. He might have had his huge buzzard wings, 30.5 pluck, were forever entangled in mud. This quote establishes the story's tone, potentially miraculous, is described in terms of decay, removing any sense of etrical wonder. This quote also shows the magical idea of angel with an old and decaying man. Owen's poem is bitter and tragic because the author experiences the horrifying reality of World War I. To prove, it says the soldiers are bent double like old beggars under shafts. Govier bends fantastical and serious tones to challenge human behavior. To prove, the short story says, the psychiatrist said to William Kerr, "You know I cannot go out and slay the dragon." They all encourage our morality and resilience. Now that is the end for literary devices. Now let's jump up to themes and connections. So the first theme is human cruelty and fear. For the Marquez story, villagers exploit and fear the old man. where it says Pella watched over him all afternoon from the kitchen, or with his Belle's club, and before going to bed, he'd drag him out of the mud and lock him up with the hens in the wired chicken coop. Pella watching the old man shows the belief that he can be dangerous, where townspeople require defense. For Govier's story, the townspeople fear the dragon and react selfishly. To prove it, the town is lit by dragon breath and poisoned positions of torture. This quote shows internal fear of the psychiatrist, which represents the internal conflict. For the wars novel, soldiers and civilians face moral choices under extreme pressure. To prove it says on a book, the thing is to not make excuses for the way you behave, not to take refuge in tragedy, but to clarify who you are through your response to when you live. This quote addresses how individuals from wars novel are tested and revealed through their responses to extreme conditions, including fear of their time. All texts examine how fear and misunderstanding can lead to cruelty or exploitation. The second and last one is resilience and endurance. The old man endures abuse in The Old Man with Enormous Wings. The quote is, his only supernatural virtue seemed to be patience. This quote describes the old man's primary characteristics in the face of abuse and exploitation. He doesn't fight back or complain. He suffers easily. The dragon demonstrates moral physical strength. The evidence says, I have done what I could do for you. You know I cannot go on and slay the dragon. This quote highlights the theme by showing that individuals find their inner strength to confront their own dragons. That symbolizes fears and stress. Soldiers in the war survive war hardships. I am alive in everything I touch. Touch the pages and you have me in your fingertips. We survive in one another. Everything lives forever. Believe it, nothing dies. This quote represents resilience as not as physical ability to withstand pain, but as the enduring human capacity to maintain memory despite the physical devastation of war. Resilience emerges as a key human trait when facing adversity. And those are the themes. Let's move on to literary theories. The first one is historical criticism, where it shows how literature reflects the social and cultural context of time. Marquez wrote the story in 1955. In the story, the villagers' reaction to the old man reflects social attitudes towards outsiders and those who fit social norms. Their behavior shows how human actions are shaped by historical circumstances. The lens connects to the wars. Just as the villagers' treatment of the old man is influenced by the social context, the characters act in ways shaped by the pressures of war, society, and historical events. The theory also connects Govier's story. This story reflects societal fear of difference and human tendency to judge someone unfamiliar. Understanding historical context helps explain behavior and deepens insight into human morality across all texts. The second one is the reader response theory, where it focuses on readers' emotions interpretation. Meaning is shaped by how we feel and how we respond. When reading Marquez's story, some readers feel sad for the old man with angel wings, while others feel angry toward the villagers. This story challenges us to reflect on whether we could act differently. In Govier's the dragon may be interpreted as fear itself, or as true people avoid. Different readers connect based on their own values. In the wars, readers may see Robert Ross as a tragic hero, a victim, or a symbol of resilience. Our emotions guide our interpretation. This literary theory reveals that these texts do not just tell stories, they bring ethical reflection and emotional reaction. Now let's go to my personal reflection. So, reading those words made me think about how people treat something different. Fear and misunderstanding overshadow compassion. Connecting these works challenged me to reflect on empathy, resilience, and moral courage. These texts remind us that ethical choices are often tested under extraordinary circumstances. In conclusion, those two short stories, A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings and A Dragon, those authors uses imagery, irony, and other devices to explore human cruelty, compassion, and resilience. Through historical criticism and reader response theory, we see how societal contexts shape behavior, as in the Wars novel. Owen's poems show similar themes and uses poetic devices like imagery, irony, and metaphor. These texts challenge us to ask, what would we do if someone who is different appeared in our lives? They encourage empathy, moral courage, and reflection on human behavior under pressure. Thank you all for listening. See ya!